It's interesting if you look at the history. Spain and Germany has the longest history of coach education. It's something we try to take care of very much in detail. You need really good coaches. You need good coach education in order to, I do not even want to say in order to develop good players, because good players are everywhere, but in order to get the most out of their potential. But saying this, at the same time, I visited a match of the LA Lakers, and as far as I know, there is no basketball coach education. I know the US quite well now, traveling with my colleague a lot, and we sit sometimes in the car together on a long road from one state to the other, and we are thinking it's also possible without all that coach education to do top level coaching. I mean, US in basketball, Germany is now world champion, but that was a total accident in my opinion, okay? Of course, you could also ask the question, could basketball, US basketball even be better if there would be a structured coach education? Who knows? I don't know.
Welcome back again, Footy family. We're here on Media Row at the Anaheim Convention Center, United Soccer Coaches Convention 2024. And our second guest here in our second year at the convention is Mr. Nicolai Adam. Nicolai is the Eintracht Frankfurt head of international sports projects. Why don't you just start, Nicolai, by telling us a little bit more about that role and what your main responsibilities are?
Thank you. I joined the club Eintracht Frankfurt 6 years ago. I'm in my 7th years. I'm basically, how can I summarize it? My job is basically to make the club more known worldwide. The understanding of Eintracht Frankfurt is we are a very international city, a very international club. If you come to Frankfurt, you will see how international the city is. And the club has actually a history. Just to give you an example, we were the first German club playing in the US after World War II in New York, where we also have an office. And that shows a lot what that club is. So we think international, we live international, and therefore we have a department that tries to do internationalization.
So it's a club-wide focus, not necessarily just on the academy or first team, but the club as a whole.
The club as a whole, we see it in different dimensions. We have traditionally the international genetics in us. Of course, there is a business side of it. You know, like in Germany, we have the 50+1 rule. So the money that basically pays for the circus of Bundesliga football, I say football if that is okay, Bundesliga soccer, that money comes, only 30% from that money, for that money comes from foreign sponsors. In the Premier League, in the EPL, it's around 80%. We will never get to 80% because of that 50+1 rule. The rule is basically that you can never be a majority owner as an investor of a Bundesliga club. You cannot, like, let's say, Man United is majority is owned by an American family, as far as I know, still, the Frasers. And that is not possible in Germany right now. We have a law that does not allow that.
By the German FA, if a sale like that were ever proposed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's really not something that is even brought about as an opportunity because it's just understood that's not part of the culture.
Not part of the culture. Also, our crowd, especially the crowd in Frankfurt, our fan base, they would not like that idea. No. It's a fine line. It's that balance. Football is a big business. We all know that. But we try to find that balance in Frankfurt. We have to between tradition and modern business. And I basically work in that part, modern business, therefore internationalization.
I see. Well, I mean, it's what makes German football unique, I think, is the tradition. You guys keep it very close. And you know, you see that even in the biggest club with Bayern Munich, it's always former players that are running it, you know. And I think that's special, you know. There's a lot of history and heritage in it. And I think that's a lot of what the U.S. is almost lacking in that sense. And you know, I know that you've worked as a coach educator for the German FA, and I actually spent some time in Germany this summer taking my UEFA B license. Did that up in Duisburg, which we talked about a little bit before we started recording. That facility is just amazing. been around for 100 years. You know, all these professional players have come through it. You can see the character in the buildings, but still the pitches are just pristine and just amazing. And I mean, I just got so much out of the experience. My instructor was fantastic. Just the level of detail, like it's just for me, you know, I also have my USB license. What would you say is the biggest difference between coaching education in Germany versus, you know, across Europe in terms of the methodology? And then if you've seen anything from the US.
It's a good, yeah. It's a very good question. First of all, I enjoyed myself all the way up to the pro license, the pathway to become a coach,
Yes.
and I also have a university degree in sports science, and I don't know. To me, it came naturally then to also become an instructor, and it's interesting if you look at the history. Spain and Germany has the longest history of coach education. So again, it's something we try to take care of very much in detail, and we believe in that philosophy. It sounds like a phrase, but I believe in it. You need really good coaches. You need good coach education in order to, I do not even want to say in order to develop good players, because good players are everywhere, but in order to get the most out of their potential. But saying this, at the same time, I visited a match of the LA Lakers 2 days ago or 3 days ago when I arrived. And as far as I know, there is no basketball coach education.
That's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up because it's a normal thing in football is you have to go through the pathway. It's school, you know. If that's the profession you want to pursue, you have to go to school for it. But there is not that for basketball, for American football, for baseball.
Yeah.
It's literally just you get a job, you get experience, and that experience opens up more.
Exactly. So, and I love that about my job. I know the US quite well now, traveling with my colleague a lot and having talks like this, talking to people. And we sit sometimes in the car together on a long road, on a long journey from one state to the other. And we are thinking, it's also possible without all that coach education to do top level coaching. I mean, US in basketball, Germany is now world champion, but that was a total accident, in my opinion, okay? But still, I mean, I think we all, of course, you could also ask the question, could basketball, US basketball even be better if there would be a structured coach education? Who knows? I don't know. But to come back to the question, a big problem, but I think you have heard that answer also many times before. I know the US Soccer Federation and I know the United Soccer Coaches Convention. And you have basically more than one pathway, two pathways basically. You can go here.
Sort of. The US.
The one doesn't even recognize the other, yeah.
Right.
And I think that's a problem.
United Soccer Coaches is more supplementary, but like you're saying, that there shouldn't be the disconnect so much.
It should be connected. Think about a profession like a doctor. My brother is a doctor. There is a worldwide standard to become a doctor. Imagine you have whatever special operation has to be done, and the doctor says, "Hey, look, I became a doctor in XYZ," and you say like, "Huh, XYZ? I never heard that before. What is that?" You know, there I see a problem. And the second problem, but I don't like to talk about problems. Because it will, in my opinion, not change. The system in the US is different. It's pay to play. So a coach in this country, in the US, has to think also a little bit as a businessman. That's as it is. That's how it is. You cannot change it. And there are also good things about it, in my opinion. Whereas in Germany or in many other countries, if I worked as head coach for youth national teams, I didn't have to think business. The money came from somewhere, and of course you can say I could. Then I was able to only focus on my main job, football or soccer, but I think the business side is also for a coach important to see, and depends on in which environment you work. Everything has its place, and it doesn't help to argue about it. What I see, coach education is important, I think. At the same time, is it? Look at basketball. Make offers to people who want to become coaches. Make it as reality based as possible. I will do a session here tomorrow, and my focus is always make it as reality based as possible. Try to focus on 3 things: make the kids or the players or the athletes sweat, learn something, have fun.
Yes. For me, that's what I've recognized is the biggest difference. And I'm not, I just really appreciated the experience I got in Germany because it was so real, so real. Like everything that we did was, it was actually coaching the coaching, being on the pitch, how you're delivering your message, how you're addressing coaching points. And we got the feedback directly, instantly. We were under pressure. We're in the fire constantly. I was on edge the whole time. I never felt confident in myself, in what I could do. I knew that I could do what they were asking of me, but for some reason I couldn't bring it out of myself. But because we were under so much pressure, you know, it's the same as a player in training. You put them under pressure so that they can perform on the game. So when we got to the assessment, I just felt like weight come off of me. I was like, oh, I was calm. I was confident. I was comfortable in my environment because they had put me under so much pressure and had prepared me for that moment. And I think that's what's a little bit lacking in the US soccer education. It's not enough time on the field and really like in the real work that needs to be done as a coach.
Totally agree. Now I understand what you also mean. Coach education should also be reality based. You know, it should be, let me say it like this, as theoretical as necessary. You need some basics. Theory is the mother of praxis, but then it has to be reality based. Yeah. Here's a problem. How do you solve it? How do you transport the message to your team? Yes. And so on. But also for me, the most important thing, congratulations, you made that license and now work with it.
That's easy.
And make your mistakes.
Yeah.
And reflect. In best case scenario, you have maybe a guy who is your mentor, who looks a little bit from a distance and says to you, hey, you were quite nervous, or I don't know, you screamed too much, or whatever it is. Yeah. Reflect and get better and better. My first coaching days, honestly, if I look back, I can only shake my head about it, or my team meetings and so on. And with more experience, you become calmer and you really focus on what's important. And for me, also, the question is always, I worked in basically from under 15 to under 19 youth national teams all over the world. And those are talented kids, right? But still, how much coaching should I do, and how much freedom do I give, and how much freedom is necessary for that little flower to flourish, and for this one needs a little bit more cutting on the edge, you know? That's always for me the question. Now think about what we talked about at the beginning. I hope I can make my point. I worked with highly talented kids, youth national teams. Now we come back to the US system. Clubs have thousands of members, best case scenario, who pay money the kids or the parents pay the money for the membership, whatever. And now we actually do not talk about elite coaching here. We talk about, I don't want to say grassroots, but something around there. Then it is about fun. And then it is about being you are basically a paid teacher for the sport of soccer. And then therefore you have to find, you are more like a service provider almost. And everybody has to be honest to him or herself. As a coach, I have to see what is my environment. Where do I work? In which kind of environment do I work? My task for coaching the under 17 World Cup team of India was clear. I have to prepare, I have to select and prepare a team for an under 17 World Cup. This is not grassroots level. Well, I don't know, Nigeria will come and Germany if they qualify, and I don't know who else. Top teams, future top players for that country. Therefore, the task is clear, and my pro license was the adequate right license for that. Pressure, very structured, no service mentality. My job was clearly the president of the Football Federation said to me, my friend, we want to present a team on world stage that is competitive. Same in my job in Azerbaijan, or you work in the German Bundesliga under 19. Yeah, I mean, those guys want to become, next age group is the Pro League. But then you have here in the United Soccer Coaches Convention, and I really, it's a great event, but it's very heterogene. There are so many people here and they work in different environments. You have a guy who works maybe with kids that are underprivileged, and another guy works on I don't know, whatever professional level with the same license. And that is for me the key. You need to know, okay, this is my environment. Which license do I know? Which is the best? Which prepares me best for that? And then do your job. I think that could help a lot.
I know you have to jump pretty soon, but I would like to talk about your experience with the Indian national team.
Whoa, that's a funny.
If I'm not mistaken, the first man of Indian youth football.
I was. I know.
I called you was it the magic man of youth soccer?
Yeah. You might. You know what? Like, I'm 51 years old. I have a Canadian wife, 2 beautiful sons. Whatever I did in the past, I would do everything again. It was a beautiful experience with a not so nice end, because they kicked me out of they fired me basically 8 months before the World Cup. But for me, the U17. For me, the experience was, including that bad part, fantastic. Believe me, I was very much out of my comfort zone. I don't know how good you guys know India, but this is not a country. This is a continent, and preparing a team for a World Cup within India is not even possible, because
it's just too big.
It's the climate, infrastructural problems, politics, all these things. We traveled basically the world to prepare them for this World Cup.
You started identifying the players.
Exactly. Where do you start? You need to learn, okay, 1.4 billion people, 1.7 maybe. Where do I start? You start in the Northeast. That's where football is at home. There are other states. You do not even have to go there, because there is no football. At the same time, of course, India wants actually a player from each state in that youth national team. Not possible.
Just the level is not high enough in certain areas.
It was an amazing experience, and but it was also, you see me now, I'm a little gray. Every day there gives you a gray hair.
One more, huh?
But good players, beautiful players, with a lot of talent. And let me say like this, the main problem of Indian football is not on the pitch, it's off the pitch. That I can say for sure.
Seems to be the case in a lot of those types of countries. I'm Iranian, so I've heard a lot about.
You are Iranian?
Yes.
For example, we played the AFC qualifiers voluntarily because we were automatically qualified for the World Cup as hosts. But I said I want to play the qualifiers. At that time, it was the under 16 qualifiers. We played in Tabriz, Iran. We beat Bahrain and Jordan and lost Iran 3-0.
Really?
But top experience for the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you play Iranian players in under 17.
They're the powerhouses.
Powerhouse, physically strong.
Korea,
exactly.
Japan. They've gotten a lot better over the years, and really coming into the last World Cup, I think they had the lowest expectations considering all the political unrest, but highest in terms of the quality of the team. So I had actually picked them to make it out of the group. I was hard on that prediction to get out with England, and US was gonna get knocked out. They almost did, but preparing for the World Cup, they didn't have any real friendlies. There was no preparation. It's same thing that you're talking about. It's just the environment is not right for football to actually flourish in that country.
Yeah. Which brings me almost to, in Germany, obviously, I'm sure you guys think we have the perfect environment, and we have, but for me, it's almost too good. It's a comfort zone nowadays, and I love this. I love if it's still a little wild and not as organized and not as structured, but as I said before, talent is everywhere, and now find a way how to develop them. I'm still a little influenced by the discussion we had before, because if you look at the last results of our World Cup in Germany, of our first team, or yes, I know we became now under 17 world champion. I'm not saying it's an accident, but we are actually, as a country, in my opinion, right now underperforming. With all the good environment we have, I think we should always be very up high and not make it out of, not even make it out of the group stage in a World Cup. It's an embarrassing, in my opinion. Federation is working on it now, and I'm sure it will be better. But my point is, it also shows, because we talked about India and Iran and all these places, if it's too structured and too nice and too perfect, that's also not good, in my opinion. You know, like, again, as a student of the game, when do you learn best? Do you learn best? Yeah, you should have a good coach, a good teacher. But maybe if the classroom is not as nice, or or you don't have a screen to do everything in PowerPoint, then find a different way. Maybe the pitch is a little more bumpy. Deal with it. Somewhere in between is, I think, the truth.
Going back to your role at Frankfurt, how much time do you spend with the academy? Do you have any role in, actually bringing them? Because I know Eintracht Frankfurt comes to Dallas Cup a lot.
Exactly.
We're from Dallas. I've coached in Dallas Cup. I've seen the Frankfurt teams play a few times there.
Yeah.
And they're good games, So I guess, do you play a role in that, in organizing that? And then what do you think about the level compared to your academy teams here?
I'm actually the head of international sports projects worldwide for Eintracht Frankfurt, and my colleague Armin Graz, who is here with me, he's actually mainly in charge for the US. The US is a big place. Because I'm also in charge for an academy in China, in Japan. And so we have it a little bit divided that way. And Armin is also the one historically who started that cooperation with the Dallas Cup. I think we are one of the teams that comes for many years. Exactly. And he's actually going there in 2 days again for a little site visit. But to explain a little bit my role, I'm obviously strongly connected with our youth academy. I'm also strongly connected with our first team. For example, we have also a cooperation club in Japan, the Urawa Reds. And for example, we have Makoto Hasebe from our first team, our team captain, actually, a Japanese international, former international. So the job is very interesting in many ways. We have things where the connection is more through the youth, and then maybe it's more through the first team. Sometimes it's more business oriented, talking about China. There it's more business oriented. And what we try is basically, you might be surprised now about that answer. We are not coming anywhere and we teach the Frankfurt way. Yes, we do in a little, or let me say it like this, the Frankfurt way is that there are many ways. Believe me,
the German way, isn't it?
We have a philosophy, of course we have, but it doesn't help for me to go to Fujieda in the Shizuoka prefecture south of Tokyo and now try to copy one-to-one what we do in Frankfurt to there. I think our unique thing is, because I also played in Japan and I love that country, I have a lot of experience there. I do not even want to change the Japanese guys. They have their way to do things, and hey, they beat us in the last 2 international games, huh? Really good. But now, what can I add to that already really good meal to make it a little bit better? That's all. And that is how we try to do it. We are not coming to the US and tell them, hey, this is how you should do it, and the Frankfurt way. No, same thing. And even here, from state to state, I see differences. Talking about the Dallas Cup, it's not that we have won the Dallas Cup every year. There are really good teams, and especially in youth football. the US is very competitive.
Yeah.
I played the US, played as head coach for youth national teams. I played the US several times as head coach of Azerbaijan. We lost once, we won once. With India, I lost. But good competition, good competition, good teams, really.
It's very interesting. Well, I would love to continue talking. I know you have to jump to another meeting, but I appreciate you sitting down with us for a few minutes. It was really nice to meet you, Nicolai.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having us,
Yes.
or me. And follow Eintracht. Keep your fingers crossed. We play tomorrow. Actually, because of the time change. No, it's still Thursday, but on Saturday we play RB Leipzig.
Okay, big game.
Big game.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes. We have 3 players in the African Cup of Nations, which are not in our squad right now. That's a problem. And Leipzig is obviously a good team. But let's see how it goes. We are right now 6 in the league, which would qualify for the Europa League again.
Okay.
That is actually,
game?
it's not a home game.
Not a- I did get to visit the Eintracht Frankfurt Stadium when I flew into Frankfurt, took the train, up to Duisburg, and was able to sneak into the Eintracht Frankfurt Stadium while they were setting up for a concert. Don't tell anybody. But I got to see the inside. It looked very cool. It looked like
It's a cool
very
stadium.
modern, massive. People said that it was probably the best atmosphere in the Bundesliga.
And again, I think we have a really good atmosphere. You know what? It also depends on the performance of the team. But Borussia Dortmund also has a great stadium, and so have others. But let me use that last moment. If you come to Frankfurt, if that is a message, do not please use the airport. It's a good airport, but also spend some time in Frankfurt. It's a beautiful city. It's really
I
international.
enjoyed it.
Come and try to get a ticket for Eintracht. Difficult enough, but it's worth to see it. And we are a very open city, and we want to welcome everybody
Yeah.
in Frankfurt.
That's the vibe that I got from it for sure. So I liked Germany. I liked spending time there. Definitely got to get back at some point in my life and experience it a little bit more. So, Nicolai, thanks again for your time, sir.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure to be here.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.